What's up, guys? We're jumping into section 5 here, still in chapter 7, proving triangles similar. So what you're going to learn today is to determine measures of the angles of triangles and use them to help prove that triangles are similar. So here's a key concept that I need you to copy down into your notes. The angle sum of a triangle. This probably isn't new to you. You've probably heard this before, but go ahead and write it out. The sum of the measures of the angles of any triangle is 180 degrees. All right, the sum of the measures of any triangle is 180 degrees. There's some interesting proofs that you could do with this with paper. We may look at that in class. But again, this is something that I assume that you're probably familiar with. So it should be a review topic. So make sure you have that copied down. And let's take a look at our daily funny. Why can't you hear a pterodactyl going to the bathroom? Because the P is silent. Get it? All right, so finding an angle measure. Triangle RST forms part of the front of a cabin as shown. What is the measure of angle S? So I have angle R and I have angle T. They're both 55 degrees. I want to know what is this angle right here. Okay, so in order to do that, it says the sum of all angles in a triangle must equal 180. So if I know two of the angles, to find that missing angle, I can just subtract the two other angles that I have. So I have 180 minus 110, and that equals 70 degrees. So this angle right here must be 70 degrees. That's all you're doing for this, is just subtracting from 180. That should be super simple for you. All right, so here's one for you to try. The answer will be up in 3, 2, 1. All right, so I got 66 degrees. Hopefully you got the same thing. Remember that this little square here means 90 degrees. That should not be something that's new to you, so just keep that in mind. All right, so angle similarity. It says if two angles of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding angles of another triangle, then the triangles are similar. You need to copy this down. In other words, if I'm looking at this one right here and I want to find the missing angle here, well, I would do 180 minus, and then 61 plus 51, and that's going to equal 180 minus, let's see, that is 112. So that's going to equal 68 degrees. So this angle right here is 68 degrees. This is also 61 51. Now you can see that this triangle looks bigger than this one. But I know that if all of these angles are congruent to one another, then those triangles have to be similar. The reason it's only angle instead of angle, 2 A's instead of 3 A's, is because if I know two of them, the third is automatically congruent. It has to be, because the three angles have to add up to 180. So if I know this is 61 and this is 51 and this is 61 and this is 51, this must be the same. So I only need two angles to know that all of the angles are congruent. And if two angles are congruent, then those two triangles are similar, which, remember from your last section, means that they have the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. So how does this apply? It says show that the pair of triangles is similar. Well, I have a 91 and a 52, and I have a 91 and a 37. I have missing angles on both of them, so let's go ahead and just find this missing angle right here. So I'm going to do 180 minus 91 plus 52, which is 180 minus 143. And 180 minus 143 is 37 degrees. So I have 37 degrees here, which now comparing the angles here, I have one angle that's congruent, and then I have another angle that's congruent. All right, so because angle L is congruent to angle P, and this is how you show it. So what I'm writing right now is very, very important. And that angle M is congruent to angle Q. That means that triangle KLM is similar to triangle, let's see, it's going to be RPQ by angle. And this right here is the full answer of showing that. Okay, here's my work to get there, but all of this is included in that answer. So here's one for you to take a look at, a couple of them. Try those. The answers will be up in 3, 2, 1. All right, so to show that these two triangles are similar, I just need two angles that are congruent. Here's a couple. You could have used other angles. I want to point something out on this one. Notice that I did angle B is congruent to angle C because I found that this is 88 degrees. But then over here, this angle D is shared by both triangles. So the larger triangle has this angle, and then the smaller triangle also has this angle, and it's the same angle. An angle is congruent unto itself. So when I prove that this triangle is similar, I'd actually say that angle D is congruent to angle D. Now that may sound redundant or repetitive or silly or whatever it may be, but I still need to mention that because I'm talking about two different triangles that just happen to have the same angle. All right, so angle D is congruent to angle D, so that means I have an angle-angle relationship, and that shows similarity between those two triangles. And that's it for today. So short lesson. Hopefully you took good notes. I'll see you in class.